is Deafening Silence ASMR bringing you the next video. And it is something I'm very excited about. Now, I've been doing a lot of Pokemon content on the channel, and one of the things that I did was the strategy guide for Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and a lot of people seem to like that. So what I'm doing today is bringing this big ol' hoss of a book. I mean, this thing is, my goodness, it is huge. It is a big deal. Okay. 650 pages, basically. And if we're taking our time with this thing, trying to be relaxing and whatnot, we are not probably even going to get through a third of this. So, without further ado, though, let's get into this thing and see what's in here for y'all today. So we got some of the promotional artwork here. And I actually have this as a wall piece. I'll have to show a picture of that. We've got the index. 648 pages is what it shows there in the bottom. We've got the song of the Dragonborn. I don't know how well that shows up on camera, but yeah, fun fact, the creators of this game basically invented an entire language for this. Yeah, that's right. The language that's in this book is not just for show. It's not just a bunch of random words. They actually made the language and tried to work out phrases and how the words coexisted with each other. I mean, it was very meticulous. It's one of the reasons why the game was so far ahead after the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. And so, very, very much so an important thing. And of course the shouts and just the dragon language as a whole is very cool. But I can't even pronounce it, so I'm not going to try. So we have selecting a race, and here it shows the different races. So you got like the Argonian, the Elves, the Nord, which is what I typically always play as, or a custom character from like mods or something. And then it shows the different types of skills you'll use in the game and what they start off with and how good they are at those. Then we got racial advantages. Different races start off with different powers or abilities. And as it says, the race you choose will have an effect on the greetings and passing comments from citizens in Skyrim. Some might be kind of racist, some will not. But, yeah, it shows what the Argonians are good at. The Bretons, what they start off with is a spell, which typically, well, actually it looks like, let's see here as we progress, it looks like every single race will start off with a flame spell, and then healing, and then also some might have fury or sparks, conjure familiar for Breton. So then we got skills and perks down here in the corner. There are 18 skills in Skyrim, divided into 3 major sets involving combat, magic, and stealth. And it shows them broken down into what, where they're at and such. Then it shows here the trainers in Skyrim. So, of course, anyone who's played the game will be familiar with the trainers can help you boost your skills up much higher. You'll have to pay a pretty hefty sum as you get higher in ability, but it does allow you to jump up several levels at once, in a particular skill. And then once your overall level goes up by 1, you're generally able to go back to these people and advance again, unless you get to a certain skill level or overall level, I should say, because at that point, if you become like a master or an expert or something like that, you will not be able to get training from a journeyman because obviously you're better than them. But it shows the different ones throughout the world of Skyrim and what they train you in. And they have general advice on improving skills and such. In general, it's better to increase your skills and level up naturally rather than trying to find ways to exploit the game, is what it says right here. Yeah, so don't use mods or go into the PC editor screen and just magically bump up your ability to level 100. So, let's see. They say statistically it's better to use save skill books for higher levels, which I didn't even think about that playing this game. I generally just used them immediately, which that's a good point. It does take longer to level them up, when you get higher and higher. So here it starts off with smithing, which of course, is how you get better armor and weapons and such. And it's tied in also with you being able to enchant or smith enchanted weapons. And enchanting is its own thing, but eventually, you get down here to dragon armor, which is, really awesome. There is a lot of cool armor mods out there for Skyrim. I should say, I started off with this game for Xbox 360, and it was one of the first games I pre-ordered. It may have been the first. I've only pre-ordered like 3 or 4 my whole entire life. And I can remember when I switched over to PC and saw all the things you could do to enhance the game. I was ruined. It's like I can never go back to a console game version of it. And even though they have went ahead and made mods for Xbox and PlayStation, I just can't do it. I'm only PC on this game. But anyway, kind of going through here, we got them talking about heavy armor and the abilities. It has stuff for one-handed or two-handed weapons, which typically I was one-handed dual wielding, typically. And they say everybody eventually becomes an archery stealth user. That's not true for me, anyway. I would add it to the arsenal a little bit here and there just to kind of switch things up. But typically I liked it to be a stealth / dual wielding, kind of like an assassin, but not using daggers, So lockpicking, pickpocket, speech, alchemy, which of course alchemy, as we've seen from the Spiffing Brit, it's one of the ways to really exploit the game. Destruction magic, restoration, alteration, enchanting, as I mentioned earlier, very, very useful skill to give your items, your weapons, your armor some added boost. So we've got the different classes of characters, not races, but classes. We got the warrior, which is the Nord race, I guess, typically. And it shows the different things you can do. It's an archetype, and they have advice on what to do with it. They have the mage, the archer, the berserker. And these are just, advices for doing certain things. Obviously, there's the assassin there playing as a Khajiit in Nightingale armor. And then we have training part 2, combat development and crafting. And this is one of the things it talks about here, which is leveling advice. And yeah, one of the things you can do is if you're in a boss battle, you're free to pause the screen, and if you can level up, you can magically get all your health, magicka, stamina back, And of course, you might be able to add like some sort of perk in your skills menu that could give you a boost in your fight against said boss, or just, whatever tough battle it is that you're going up against. I should admit also, I haven't really read this book. I got it because I was such a huge fan of Skyrim, and I glanced through it a little bit, but honestly, anytime I've needed any kind of like help on a particular something in the game, I just went to Google, But it's a cool thing to have. Maybe you could find something in here you wouldn't think of. Shouts and other powers, just basically talking about your ability as the Dragonborn to be able to shout and use, the voice of the dragons. And it talks about here the different types of shouts there are: fire breath, frost breath, ethereal, you can call a dragon, Odivine, and then eventually you'll be able to call Sauratar. And then there's clear skies, there is elemental fury, there's dragon rend, of course, which is the main story shout, which allows you to bring down Alduin. And then, of course, on this page you have unrelenting force, Fus Roda. And the shouting table, it shows what shouts are, because it's always 3-tiered, 3 words create the shout, and they show what words grant what as far as abilities within that shout. Like, for example, calm animal, medium, and then max, or ice form, paralyze, frost damage. In the ice form, of course, it has 3 tiers, and it requires more time in between shouts. But there are items and abilities that can help speed up the time so you can use it again. And then we have permanent abilities and powers down here, perks and such. You get a boost to these for you after you complete the quests, such as the Dark Brotherhood quest, plus 25 armor if wearing all Dark Brotherhood armor. Diseases. You can get infected with different diseases in the game, notably sanguine vampires. Sanguinare vampires, which eventually will transform you into a vampire if you don't get it taken care of. Dragon Slayer Blessing, 10% chance of a critical hit, against dragons, and it's in the Blades quest. You're probably very familiar with Ataxia too, which is always involved with skeevers. And then, of course, there's lycanthropy, which will transform you into a werewolf. And the werewolves, they have pretty special abilities. Beast form, of course, is the transforming. And as you kill people and consume their corpse, you get not only health, but you get to increase in skills within the werewolf ability. And that may not be in here because that may have been an add-on later on in one of the DLCs, but Then it talks about that vampirism. And of course, with vampirism, if you're a full vampire, people fear you, and you know you can't be out in the sun. Well, okay, you can. They changed it up from Oblivion, where you actually would lose health over time. You can be out in the sun as a vampire in this game, but your health and magic and such do not regenerate. You're basically stuck. And it shows how you can cure it. I would play as a vampire every now and then and get it cured, but I would never try to do it with a werewolf. I was pretty happy being stuck as a werewolf. Team Jacob or whatever. I don't know. I didn't watch Twilight. So we've got them talking about guards' reactions to you. They can talk about crafting here, which is an important part of Skyrim. If you want to do alchemy, there's enchanting as well as disenchanting. And if you disenchant a weapon, basically it breaks it down and you can't use it again. But in the process, you get to use that power or ability to apply to other weapons you'd find in the game that aren't already enchanted. And then, of course, it requires soul gems to add to the weapon. It basically powers it with that ability you're trying to add to it. And there are certain weapons in the game that you can use that will capture a soul from an enemy. To do so, you can also buy filled soul gems. And the soul gems also can recharge weapons if their usage has ran out, because with an enchanted weapon, each time you use it on an enemy, it drains it a little bit. Then there's enchanting armor, which we talked about that. You can enchant it to, be tougher or resist certain elemental attacks. You can sneak better. Things of that nature. It talked about forging as well. There's improving items at a workbench. As you get higher in your ability, you'll be able to make whatever powers they're using, whatever the powers the weapons or items, armor and such are using. They'll be more effective. And then there is the crafting. It shows here what ingredients make, what item. Like they have the hide shield and hide armor pieces, and then they have the iron armor pieces, steel, and it shows what all they require. Which, of course, the menu in-game will do that as well. So you're not in the dark. Cooking recipes. Different food items in-game will allow you to create different types of foods that restore your health. Then there's mining. Of course, mining for ore allows you to eventually make the ingots that you can melt down, which will allow you to make, whatever weapons or armor you're wanting to make. Tanning leather, wood chopping, which will allow you to get wood that you need for certain items, but you can also sell the wood to certain NPCs to get money. Then it talks about the holds of Skyrim and adventuring across Skyrim, actually, training part 3. And holds, of course, are, either castles or maybe not so much castles, but just certain small fortresses in the game. Dungeon exploration, which is the main thing, I think it's safe to say, that you do in Skyrim. Matter of fact, one of the things that I kind of, even though Skyrim is like in my top 5 and probably top 3 games of all time for me, like my favorites, the thing that I do get wary with is how many dungeons you go through, and the dungeons, they feel very repetitive. They feel very monotonous, and it got to the point where I would spend large chunks of time just like doing whatever missions I could out in the open range, the open world areas, and or in holds, just trying to avoid the dungeons because they got really repetitive and frustrating at times, trying to find certain items or things throughout them, dungeon crawling essentially. But other sites of interest, talking about like dragon burial mounds and such, which of course you'll want to battle dragons to get their souls to get more shout abilities, or dragon bones, or sometimes they'll have like rare items or money. The standing stones, which if you go to one of these and select them, they can improve certain, or they can give a higher percentage rate to certain abilities. Like the Maid's Stone, all magic skills improve 20% faster. Warrior does, combat skills. Thief does stealth skills. Shadow marks. And the shadow marks on certain buildings indicate that these places are actually used by the Thieves Guild. Skill books, of course, which if you get these books and read them, they automatically advance whatever skill it pertains to by 1. There are spell tomes, which if you read those, they automatically allow you to learn that particular spell. Then there's home ownership. You can own different homes throughout Skyrim, which allows you to stockpile items that you find in your journey, or just have a place to rest, which gives you a percentage increase for your skills as you travel throughout the world of Skyrim if you're well rested from your sleeping in your home. Of course, you can have a wife there or a husband. You can raise kids, etc. Then it talks about followers, different types of followers, like mercenaries or housecarls, which is whenever you become like one of the important people of that particular hold. And then on this page, it shows here all the different NPCs that you can find throughout the game to bring along on your journey. Probably the one that most everyone's familiar with is Lydia, Housecarl Whiterun, the one that says, "I am sworn to carry your burdens." Very cruddy behavior, considering you're the frickin' Dragonborn. Then we have Aella the Huntress, one of my personal favorites. I also like Farkas a lot. Let's see, who else here? I'm not seeing... Oh, where's Carjo? He's one of my favorites. I'm seeing... Of course, there's something you can add. There was a very favorite mod by a lot of people. Oh gosh, it was a Khajiit. What is his name? I'm gonna remember this later, but I would always have him. Actually, at one point I had several just Khajiit followers. It was pretty funny. Horses, of course. There's the meme about horses being able to go up, mountains and such. But horses, allow you to travel faster throughout the world of Skyrim. They can also attack enemies, which is not something you really want them to do, but it is, a possibility. And, of course, I love Shadowmere, who's a horse in the game. different types of crafting stations. Then there's like the grindstone, which allows you to sharpen weapons. There's a smelter, a dragon mouse, just showing what different places look like, I guess. Inventory. That's one of everybody's favorites, is managing your freaking inventory whenever you, of course, are out of the weight. You've used up all your weights and you're slow traveling basically at that point. This is all about spells right now, the different spells and what they do. There's a lot that, there's a lot there. General data. It talks about like the different weapons and how much they weigh. Kind of should do that with the armor too, because that is definitely something to consider. I typically also go light armor, because heavy armor does weigh a lot, and it takes up a lot of space as far as your inventory being able to carry other things. And I do like to alternate between different, armor depending on what day of the week it is. But yeah, I typically go light armor, which I think is why people say everyone eventually turns into a stealth archer, because it's very lightweight. Shows a different kind of arrows or two-handed weapons, one-handed weapons, etc. Then we get same thing here, talking about all the different armor, what it weighs, its value, what type of armor it is, what armor rating it does provide. And oh my lord, if this included mods, this thing would be multiple books, basically. Then we got alchemy. And here it shows, these ingredients actually, they show the different effects, I should say. These different ingredients show the different effects that they can provide and where they're found. And so they can help you increase those different skills or provide bonuses to them. And let's see. I typically do try to stockpile ingredients and make a bunch of different potions and stuff, but I don't utilize it as well as I should. I'll just try to spam a bunch of potions and stuff to get my skills up, but and so I can increase my overall level, but I don't utilize it as well as I should. Talking about more enchantments, and I have checklists next to them. I don't know if anyone would ever keep track of that, but then we got books and the different books and the names of them and what they increase. And more of the same here. Spell tomes, talking about different types of spells and such in books where they can, or what they do, I should say, what they do, not where they can be found, but what they do. And there's a handy mod, actually, which will, coat the books in an aura, so they can be easier to spot out in the wild, or, in dungeons and such, if you're looking for them. Regular books will be a certain color, and then spell books will be a different color, differentiating from them. But here we have the different potions, types of potions, what they provide, or what they can inflict on enemies. We got other items here. Miscellaneous stuff, basically. And it looks like it'd be Beastiary, but I think it's supposed to be like Beastiary or something like that. But it's talking about adversaries, enemies, that sort of thing. And we got different archers. We got the types of enemies, like the Alakir here. What types of enemies will be within that class of people. Got that different animals. Bandits, different types of bandits. Dragons. And different types of dragons. The Draugr, which I really can't stand. I think I get more frustrated with the Dwarven, though. Oh crap, I forgot about the Falmer. Maybe I should just say I equally get frustrated with everybody. Falmer are pretty high up there, though. Penitentius Oculatus, which is the Emperor's personal security force. Skeletons, Spriggan, the Thalmer. I think everybody hates them. Rightfully so. Different types of vampires. And then we get to the quest, the main quest. And it is the moment you start your adventure, basically. The epic scene where you're fixing to be beheaded, and then Alduin shows up and interrupts the party. And basically it talks about, it's basically telling you what you're going to be doing as you go through that quest. And as I flip through these pages, because it's basically just going over the quest, I should say, I typically don't. Oh my goodness, I've completed the main quest maybe once. Definitely on the Xbox 360. I may have completed the quest before on the PC, but I cannot remember it. Because there's so many mods to add. You can also add stories that people have created. You can even add entire new sections of world to explore. And between that and exploring new powers and, just running through the world trying to get more ingots to smith like mod armor that people have made, I basically just never get through the main story, And I don't know. I have so much fun doing like the Dark Brotherhood quest or the Vampire quest, in the DLC, or etc., etc. There's so much to do that you can get lost in this game and never complete the main story, And main quest Act 3. This is basically spoilers. Parthenax, love him. Of course, that is voiced by the voice of Mario. I forget his name off the top of my head at this point. Usually I can remember it, but, whenever you're on camera, this is stuff you forget. Great guy, though. Alduin, the World Eater. Yeah, he did it first, folks, not Bray Wyatt. They mentioned Odoving on the last page. That's a really cool part of the game. Whenever you get to capture a dragon, and you get to capture Odoving, and eventually he will serve you to take down Alduin, is what I meant to say. And there's the quest conclusion. Then it talks about the Companion's Quest, which I like. I don't know what kind of I haven't really looked online or anywhere to see what kind of Elder Scrolls fans, like what their general opinion is of the companions, but I like them. They replaced the Fighters Guild in this game with the companions, basically. And I mentioned Aela the Huntress earlier. Ysgramor was the founder. And called like Whitemane, if there's not really a leader in the group, but he's kind of like the de facto advisor to the group. Of course, there's Farkas and Vilkas, the brothers. Skjor, which, spoiler alert, dies. And then here's the rest of the group. I don't know, it's pretty cool. There's a total of 19 quests available to the companions. And like the previous quest, it talks about all the different things you'll do here. And this is where you get to become a werewolf. Then they got the Radiant quests. And then, oh my goodness, you get to go fight a dragon. Okay, the next group is the College of Winterhold with the mages, and I'm pretty certain everybody can admit that this is a lame part of the game. They just do not treat you seriously. And this kind of happens a lot in the game, but it's like, you're the Dragonborn, right? And you clearly can show all these different powers and abilities that they've never seen before. It doesn't matter, And it just, I don't know, it was just lacking. Some of the things that they introduced into it had potential, but it just, it was just lacking. Just lacking. And people have tried to do mods and stuff to add to it, to make it kind of better. And it has a lot more quests than, the companions. It's got 29, So you would think maybe it could be better, but no. So it shows some of the different things. And I honestly don't remember a lot about it because similar to the main quest, I don't really try to go and complete it. Containment. The Staff of Magnus. The College Radiant quests. Got names. Just a lot of stuff here. Apprentice Radiant quests, Ritual Spell Radiant quests. Just talking about Jazargo. He's pretty cool. He's one of the few things about the mages and the College of Winterhold that I like. Then we got the Thieves Guild. The Thieves Guild is pretty cool. I like it a lot. Of course, there's a lot of cool NPCs like Delphin up here, or Vex, Sapphire. Pretty cool. Even though she treats you like a jerk at first. Maven Blackbriar, which is, I do it, and I think a lot of other people do it too. We like to occasionally take her off of essential mode so we can kill her, because she's such a word I can't say because I want to keep this thing good for children. Thanks, YouTube. But pretty cool. I love stealth and pickpocketing, which is pretty. It is pretty cool, and even the Radiant quests, which you have to go on, where you go and steal items in specific cities. You can eventually build up the underground. What is it called? What is it called? The Warren. Basically, you can rebuild it. All the different merch and such will go back under there, and you can basically rebuild the Thieves Guild in Skyrim. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Got a couple cool twists and turns. the whole twist of Carlisle is interesting, and Mercer Frey, of course, who's also a prick. It basically kind of tells a tale of, honor amongst thieves, for lack of a better way to do a synopsis of it. And the Thieves Guild Radiant quests. Let's see, which is the cities you have to specifically go to rebuild the Thieves Guild and complete the quest, they're like bonus quests or extra quests that you can do after the story. It's Solitude, Whiterun. Gosh, I had to put myself on the spot here. No, it tells me. I don't even have to guess. Solitude, Whiterun, Markarth, Windhelm, and Riften. I was trying to think of Windhelm. I couldn't think of the name. Different shadow marks there. Got armor exchange. Different types of jobs you can do. Maybe you're stealing like a particular valuable item, or you're just needing to go in and steal like a certain monetary amount. You maybe needing to clear out a home of like particular valuables and such. And those types of jobs also pertain to the 5 cities you have to go into to steal from, And just different stuff. But then we get to the Dark Brotherhood quest. And unfortunately, folks, I'm going to have to leave you on a cliffhanger. We have went quite a ways in this video so far. And I think the Dark Brotherhood would be a great place to start off for the next video. We actually got through a lot of pages, 231 to be exact. Now that we're on 232. Got through a lot more pages than I expected, so who knows, we might be able to get through this thing quicker than I thought. So, if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate a like. Throw them away on the video. Lets me know you guys appreciate the content, or this particular type of content, and would like to see more. And, maybe you want to see more strategy guides and such. And, if you want to keep up with what I'm doing, a subscription. I appreciate everybody that has liked and subscribed and commented on my videos and such. Closing in on my first 100 subscribers, which is pretty cool. And, I'm trying to add different stuff here and there. Who knows, you might be seeing some interesting content here in the next couple of weeks. Green screen intent. And I want to provide some different type of ASMR content than what I have been. So anyway, I got a chance to talk about one of my favorite games, which I would like to do some more video game type videos, such as like my top 5 or favorite video games from each console. I might be doing like a video game roleplay type video as well. We shall see. I'm going to be getting back into playing Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver on here again too, part 4, hopefully soon. But for now, again, thank you guys for watching. If you watched to the end of this, I appreciate it. I will see you guys again on the next video. Bye-bye. Take care.